Jalen Williams was named an All-Star and won a championship in just his third season. He also leads the 2022 draft class in win shares at a staggering 20.6. In every draft, there's that one player, the one everyone overlooks early in the draft, leaving NBA teams in regret. Williams is the steal of this draft class, so let's see who is drafted in front of him. With the number 1 overall pick, the Atlanta Magic drafted Paolo Banchero. At 6'10", 250 pounds, Paolo wasn't just a big man. He was a curator, a floor general, and a mismatch nightmare. He was already a household name before college, a consensus 5-star recruit out of Seattle, a McDonald All-American, and the crown jewel of Duke's 2021 class. And from his very first game at Duke, he looked like a pro playing amongst amateurs. He averaged 17 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, while shooting 48% from the field. It wasn't just about the numbers, it was how he got them. He'd grab a rebound, push the ball like a point guard, pull up from the elbow with confidence of a 10-year vet. And needed a bucket late in the clock, Paolo would ISO, create space, and knock down the mid-range jumper like it was a layup. His game wasn't flashy, he was an all-around talent, and he was NBA ready. Throughout most of the year leading up to the draft, Jabari Smith Jr. was a projected number 1 pick. He was the safe pick, the shooter, the modern forward. And then moments before the draft, they flipped the script. They picked Paolo, a player that would quickly become their franchise cornerstone. And in his NBA debut, he looked like he belonged, putting up 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists, and he became the first rookie since LeBron James to debut with a 25, 5, and 5 stat line. And this was just the beginning, as he dominated all season long. Paolo's rookie season was one for the history books, as he averaged 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, which won him unanimous NBA Rookie of the Year, and the entire NBA knew the Magic had drafted a special talent. In his second season, he didn't hit a sophomore slump, he leveled up. He earned his first All-Star selection, averaging 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists, and he led the Atlanta Magic to their first playoff berth in 4 years by taking on a bigger role playmaking and showing flashes of being a true offensive engine. He proved he wasn't just a scorer, he could control the game. In this past season was Paolo's true arrival as a franchise superstar. And despite battling through an oblique injury, Banchero averaged 26 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. However, the 3-point shot is still a major deficit in his game, as he only shot 32% from downtown. He commanded double teams, punished mismatches, and elevated the young Orlando core alongside Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs. He led the Atlanta Magic to the playoffs for the second straight year, but got bounced in the first round once again. But one thing is for certain, Paolo Banchero has been the best player in the draft class and is proving every day that he's worthy of being the number 1 overall pick in this draft. And with the second overall pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder drafted Chet Holmgren. At 7'1" with a 7'6" wingspan with guard-like skills, elite shot blocking instincts, and range out to the 3-point line, Holmgren was a very unique prospect. But with that kind of frame came questions. Coming out of Minneapolis, Chet was the number 1 recruit in the nation, but he didn't take the blue blood route. Instead, he joined a Gonzaga team fresh off a national title run and started right into Mark Few's frontcourt. And instantly, he became the Zags' defensive anchor and ultimate cheat code. And in his lone season, he averaged 14 points, 10 rebounds, 3.7 blocks per game, which was good for 4th in the country. He also shot 61% from the field and a ridiculous 39% from deep. Chet was a walking mismatch. He could swat your shot from anywhere on the court, bring up the ball, and pull up from 3. But he weighed under 200 pounds, which is very unusual for a 7-footer, and scouts wondered, could that frame survive the NBA's physicality? He showed flashes of being a franchise player, but also had foul trouble and durability concerns. Still, the upside was too tempting. The Thunder knew what they were getting at number 2, a rare opportunity to draft a modern rim protector with switchability and shooting. And he'd have plenty of time to develop in Oklahoma City, a team known for patience and his development team. But the injury concerns became a reality before he even stepped onto an NBA court. Just 2 months after the draft in a pro-am game in Seattle, Chet tried to stop LeBron on a fast break, lands awkwardly, and suffers a lower leg injury in his right foot, and just like that, his rookie season was over before it began. Chet used a year to rehab, bulk up, study film to get stronger, and when he finally stepped on an NBA court in the following season, he showed up in a big way. He averaged 16.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks per game, shooting 53% from the field and 37% from 3. And he also finished second in Rookie of the Year voting behind Victor Wembanyama. He gave the Thunder a rim protector they hadn't had since Serge Ibaka, and for the offensive end, his footwork, his timing, and his ability to knock down trailing threes, it all fit perfectly next to SGA and Jalen Williams. And by the 2024-25 season, Chet Holmgren was no longer a curiosity. He was a legit two-way force on a team that finished first in the West, but the injury concerns rose again as he only played 32 regular season games, but he was still impactful when he played. His averages were 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.2 blocks per game, and shot a career best from 3 at 38%. He was the perfect front court complement to SGA and the rest of the Thunder team, and he didn't need touches to dominate, just spacing, timing, and trust. And on defense, he anchored one of the best units in the league, smothering drives, erasing floaters, and contesting everything at the rim. Against the Indiana Pacers in the finals, Chet's versatility was crucial, but he struggled on the offensive end. However, the Thunder still won the series in 7 games, capturing OKC's first title. After the championship, the Thunder made a bold bet on Holmgren, giving him a $250 million contract in hopes he would be their starting center for years to come. With the 3rd overall pick, the Houston Rockets drafted Jabari Smith Jr. Heading into the draft, Jabari Smith Jr. checked every box. A 6'10" sniper with a 7'1" wingspan, elite mechanics, switchable defense, and at just 18 years old, he took over college basketball. Jabari joined Auburn with high expectations, but somehow he still exceeded them. As a freshman, he averaged 17 points, 8 rebounds, and shot 42% from 3 on high volume. He was the engine behind Auburn's 28-6 season and the #1 overall ranking midway through the year. He didn't need to dominate the ball, he let his shooting do the talking. Catch and shoot, pick and pops, mid-range pull-ups with hands in his face. It all looked effortless. He was polished and projected to make an impact right away. Houston was a rebuilding, fast-paced, guard-heavy, chaotic team, and Jabari got dropped right in the middle of it. In year 1, he averaged 13 points, 8 rebounds, and shot 40% from the field, and just 31% from 3, which was lower than expected from Jabari. His mechanics looked stiff and his confidence wavered. And there were some flashes of being a great player but needed to find more consistency. And in year 2, under new head coach Ime Udoka, the Rockets looked more structured, and Jabari started to find his footing. He averaged 14 points and 8 rebounds, and his spot-up shooting increased dramatically, shooting 36% from 3 and became a reliable spot-up option. And this past season was supposed to be the year Jabari broke out. While he made improvements defensively, his offensive game still lacked polish and consistency. He put up 12 points per game, 7 rebounds, and shot 35% from 3. There was nights where he looked like a perfect stretch 4, and other nights where he couldn't buy a bucket. He's still just 21 years old, but the hype he had entering the draft of becoming a franchise cornerstone is pretty much gone. He still has a valuable skill set of size, defense, and a shooting touch, and should have a long NBA career ahead. With the 4th overall pick, the Sacramento Kings drafted Keegan Murray. Murray's road to the NBA wasn't built on hype. Coming out of high school, he was barely recruited. He didn't have the mixtapes or the 5-star labels. But at Iowa, he transformed into one of the most polished scorers in the nation. As a freshman, he only averaged 7 points on 29% from 3, but as a sophomore, he exploded. He averaged 23.5 points per game, which was best for 4th in the country, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, and shot 55% from the field, and a staggering 40% from 3. He carried Iowa to a Big Ten tournament championship, winning most outstanding player, and showed scouts that he was NBA ready. With his spot-up shooting, smooth footwork, deadly mid-range pull-up, and confidence that never wavered. And by the time the draft rolled around, Keegan was overlooked due to his age of 21 years old, and GMs didn't believe he could develop into an NBA player worthy enough to be drafted at the top 5 pick, but Sacramento took a gamble on Murray. NBA fans wanted them to take Jaden Ivey, but the Kings, fresh off years of dysfunction, wanted somebody ready to win now, and Keegan was that guy. And from the jump, he fit in perfectly next to De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. As a rookie, he averaged 12 points, 5 rebounds, and shot 41% from 3 on high volume. He also broke the NBA record for most threes by a rookie with 206. He wasn't asked to be a star, just a sniper and a defender. And when Sacramento made the playoffs for the first time in 16 years, Murray delivered in big moments. And in the following season, he took a huge step forward, averaging 15 points and 5 rebounds, improved his shot creation, attacking closeouts, and driving with confidence. Murray's stock couldn't have been any higher as he was viewed as one of the best young players in the league. However, this past season, Murray took a step back, averaging just 12 points while shooting a career-worst 34% from 3. And the question marks scouts had for Murray are starting to become a reality as there has been much improvement since his rookie season. However, Murray is still a great talent, and just like Jabari Smith Jr., he should have a long NBA career. With the 5th overall pick, the Detroit Pistons drafted Jaden Ivey. At Purdue, he quickly became one of the most explosive guards in the country, and by his sophomore year, he was must-watch TV. He averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, while shooting a much improved 36% from the field. But it was the way he scored that had scouts excited. He would grab a rebound and explode coast to coast, weaving through defenders like a running back. He split a double team, elevate, and throw down a dunk that left the crowd in awe. He led Purdue to the Sweet 16, made first team All Big Ten, and climbed all the way into a top 5 prospect heading into the draft. Some compared him to Ja Morant, others compared him to Russell Westbrook. And the Detroit Pistons, in desperate need of a spark, took a chance on him. However, Jaden Ivey's rookie season was a mixed bag. With Cade Cunningham missing majority of the season, Ivey was thrown into a bigger role than expected, as the team's primary ball handler on a rebuilding roster. He averaged 16 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds, but only shot 41% from the field with nearly 3 turnovers per game and often looked out of control in the half-court setting. But there was plenty of highlight plays, high-flying dunks, clutch buckets, but also plenty of misreads, bad shots, and defensive lapses. Still, for a young rookie on a struggling team, the flashes were enough to prove Ivey had a promising NBA career. With Cade Cunningham healthy in Ivey's sophomore year, the Pistons expected their backcourt of the future to take shape. Instead, things got very messy. Ivey's minutes were inconsistent under head coach Monty Williams, his touches dropped and his confidence took a hit. There are also rumors of extreme locker room tension. And worst of all, Detroit finished the season with just 18 wins, the worst in the NBA. Ivey's numbers dipped to 14 points, 4 assists, and shot only 33% from 3. It was definitely a disappointing sophomore season from Ivey due to all the dysfunction the entire Pistons organization dealt with, but it was hard to expect Ivey to thrive in that environment. However, this past season, the Pistons made big changes and Ivey blossomed. They fired Monty Williams and brought in a new front office, which put Ivey in a position to succeed. And he started out hot, averaging 18 points and shooting a career best 40% from 3 on a much improved Pistons squad. But then, Ivey went down with a gruesome leg injury that sidelined him for the rest of the season. After the Pistons struggled a year ago, there are some question marks if Ivey and Cade could coexist in the backcourt together. But Detroit basketball is back, and that backcourt has a bright future going forward. With the 6th overall pick, the Indiana Pacers drafted Bennedict Mathurin. By his sophomore season at Arizona, he was a certified bucket. He averaged 18 points, 6 rebounds, shot 45% from the field, and 37% from 3. He was also named Pac-12 Player of the Year and second-team All-American. But beyond the stats, Mathurin played with a confidence that turned heads. He led Arizona to a 33-4 record and all the way to the Sweet 16 in the March Madness tournament, and with serious lottery buzz, he declared for the draft. And the rebuilding Pacers team, in desperate need of a primary scorer, took Mathurin. However, he didn't start right away, but that didn't stop him from making noise. Even with coming off the bench, he still managed to average an impressive 17 points and 4 rebounds, shot 43% from the field, and got to the line over 5 times a game, which was impressive for a rookie. And with Mathurin's first few games, he made NBA history. He dropped 27 points in his second game, put up 30 on Brooklyn a week later, and became the first rookie in NBA history to score 100 points in his first 5 games off the bench. Mathurin was fearless. He wasn't afraid of anybody. Not LeBron, not KD, not the moment. He finished 4th in Rookie of the Year voting, earned all rookie first team honors, and was in the conversation for 6th Man of the Year, which was almost unheard of for a rookie. The 2023-24 season started with excitement, but also brought growing pains. Indiana was now building around Tyrese Halliburton, and midway through the year, they traded for Pascal Siakam, reshaping their offensive hierarchy. Mathurin's touches dropped and his minutes fluctuated. He ended the year averaging 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and shot just 32% from 3. He wasn't bad, just inconsistent, and with Indiana's new offense, you had to shoot the 3-ball to get real minutes. And the swagger that defined his rookie season started to fade as his new role became less defined. Then he went down with a partial shoulder tear that sidelined him for the rest of the regular season and the playoffs, in which the Pacers reached the Eastern Conference Finals, which put in question Mathurin's importance to the Pacers' future. After an up-and-down sophomore campaign, Mathurin came into year 3 with something to prove. And this time, Mathurin embraced his 6th-man role, bringing instant offense, energy, and toughness to Indiana's second unit. He averaged 16 points and 4 rebounds, but still struggled with his outside shot, only shooting 34% from 3. And during the Pacers' run to the finals, Mathurin had some great moments to make the run possible, and moments where he was unplayable. After the finals, and with Tyrese Halliburton expected to miss the entirety of next year, the Pacers announced they plan on making Mathurin a full-time starter, and with his new starting spot, we just might see a real breakout season from him. With the 7th overall pick, the Portland Trail Blazers drafted Shaedon Sharpe. Sharpe was a basketball ghost in 2022. He enrolled at Kentucky and practiced with the team, but never played a single game. John Calipari kept him on the shelf, expecting him to return the next season. Instead, Sharpe declared for the NBA draft. That meant no March Madness moments, no 20-point games against elite defenses, no proof of what he could really do on the college level. All scouts had was a dominant senior year at Dream City Christian and elite measurements, standing at 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan, freaky athleticism, and a buttery shooting form. The Trailblazers didn't need a project player because they were still trying to compete with Damian Lillard, but they went with Sharpe anyways, betting on raw tools over proven results. Shaedon Sharpe's rookie year was all about the moments. He averaged 10 points, 3 rebounds, and shot 36% from 3. But in March, when Portland shut down their starters, Sharpe went off. In his final 10 games of the year, he averaged 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists, showcasing off-the-dribble creation, body control, mid-range pull-ups that felt unstoppable, and it was a teaser, and fans were hooked. The following season, Lillard was traded, and Sharpe stepped into a bigger role. And for early in the season, he looked like a breakout star. Back-to-back 25-plus point games, high-flying dunks, and defensive activity. But by midway through the season, the efficiency dropped. His 3-point shot became streaky, decision-making on drives was inconsistent, and his handle was still raw. He ended his sophomore campaign averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds, shooting just 43% from the field. However, this was a small sample size as Sharpe struggled with injuries and only played 32 games. In his past season, Sharpe started to put it together, averaging a career-high 19 points per game, but shot a career worst from 3 at a lousy 31%. However, throughout the season, the Blazers showed steady improvements and are now looked at as one of the best young teams in the league, with Sharpe as their primary scorer. With the 8th overall pick, the New Orleans Pelicans drafted Dyson Daniels. Daniels didn't take the college route. He left Australia as a teenager and joined the G League Ignite, hoping that playing against pros would fast-track his development. In the G League, he averaged 11 points, 6 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 2 steals. He wasn't a flashy scorer, but he was mature beyond his years. A 6'8" guard with excellent feel, high IQ defender, smart passer, and a knack for making the right play. His perimeter defense stood out. He hounded the ball handler, fought through screens, and played with discipline. And with the Pelicans searching for a connector piece between Zion, Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum, Daniels fit the mold. In his rookie season, Daniels earned minutes immediately with his elite defense. He made life tough for opposing guards and wings, but the offense, that was a different story. He averaged 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting just 41% from the field and 31% from 3, which wasn't a surprise, but needed improvement to find consistent minutes. In his second season, Daniels started to take on more responsibility. Injuries to Zion and CJ opened up ball handling opportunities, and Dyson showed flashes of growth. His minutes increased, and so did his production on offense. He averaged 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Shooting splits were still poor, but his defense was still elite. He was a top 15 defender by defensive estimated plus minus. Still, he was rarely featured in crunch time, and his 3-point shot remained inconsistent. You could trust him to guard the opposing team's best player, but you couldn't trust him to hit the corner 3. Going into the 2024-25 season, the Pelicans were looking to upgrade the guard position and traded Daniels for the Hawks in exchange for Dejounte Murray. And this move by the Pelicans was the best thing to happen for Daniels' career. He averaged career highs across the board, 14 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, and a staggering 3 steals a game. He won Most Improved Player of the Year and finished second Defensive Player of the Year. He became the perfect backcourt running mate for Trae Young, who is known as one of the worst defenders in the league. The Hawks have reloaded their team this offseason and plan to make a deep playoff run next season, with Daniels being a crucial part as a combo guard and a point of attack defender. With the 9th overall pick, the San Antonio Spurs drafted Jeremy Sochan. Jeremy was never supposed to go this high. He didn't even start for most of his freshman year at Baylor. He wasn't a polished scorer, and he didn't have a deep bag. But what he did have was hard to ignore. Elite defensive instincts, a 6'9", 230-pound frame, quick feet, strong hands, and fearless energy. He also had a willingness to do all the dirty work, switch onto guards, fight in the paint, and crash the glass. His offensive game was raw, but teams fell in love with his motor, his defense, and the idea of unlocking more, and the Spurs took a chance. As a rookie, he brought an edge to a rebuilding Spurs team. He put up 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, while also shooting just 29% from 3, but he played hard on defense every night. He guarded 1 through 5, dove on the floor, ruffled feathers, and even talked trash to vets as a 19-year-old kid. And then, the hair. He dyed his hair a different color almost weekly, a nod to Dennis Rodman, and quickly became a favorite in San Antonio. And in the following season, the arrival of Victor Wembanyama changed everything for the Spurs. Head coach Greg Popovich made a surprising move early in the season, and he gave Sochan the keys to the offense, running him at point guard. And the idea? Let Sochan push the pace, make reads, and take pressure off Wemby. But the reality? It was messy. Sochan's handle wasn't tight enough, and his shooting didn't command respect. The defenders sagged off, clogged the paint, and dared him to shoot. He finished the year averaging 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, and the offense often stalled with him initiating. An experiment with him at point guard didn't last the full season. Eventually, the Spurs moved him back to a more natural position as a slashing forward. In year 3, with Wembanyama now emerging as a full-blown superstar, he found his groove by splitting time between being a starter and coming off the bench. He averaged 11 points, 2.5 assists, and 6 rebounds, but still struggled from 3, only shooting 30%. Jeremy will probably never be the best scorer from this class. He might not even make an all-star team. He'll be the guy guarding the other team's best player, making the hustle plays, getting under your skin, and doing everything that doesn't show up in the box score. With the 10th overall pick, the Washington Wizards drafted Johnny Davis. At Wisconsin, Davis was unstoppable as a sophomore. He averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. He was named Big Ten Player of the Year. He was a tough shot maker, relentless on the glass, and played with grit and confidence. He led a Wisconsin team with modest expectations to number 3 seed in the NCAA tournament and was widely praised for his competitive fire. But the transition to the pros has been brutal. As a rookie, he averaged just 6 points, shooting 38% from the field, and spent most of his year in the G League. And for his sophomore year, not much better. He saw more minutes but continued to struggle with confidence, decision making, and shot creating against NBA level defenders. And this past year looked even worse. He averaged 2.5 points per game and shot 41% from the field. Davis has had a disappointing career thus far, and time is running out to prove he can be a productive NBA player. With the 11th overall pick, the New York Knicks drafted Usman Deng, but traded him to the Thunder on draft night for multiple first-round picks. Deng came into the draft as a 6'10" French forward with guard skills, soft shooting touch, and a sky-high ceiling. He played for the New Zealand Breakers in the NBL and showed flashes of brilliance against grown men. He averaged 9 points, 3 rebounds, and shot under 40% from the field. Still, OKC traded up to draft him at 11, betting on a long-term development project. In his first 2 seasons, he was largely a non-factor. He split time between the NBA and the G League. He showed flashes on one-dribble pull-ups, smooth playmaking, but lacked aggression, consistency, and confidence. In this past season, with OKC becoming champions, Deng was mostly out of the rotation. He averaged 4 points and 2 rebounds. On a team full of young and ready to contribute talent, Deng struggled to carve out a consistent role. Still, the Thunder remained patient. He's only 21 years old with a 6'10" frame with creation skills. He has the tools most players can only dream of, but potential doesn't last forever in the NBA. And in OKC's deep rotation, Deng is running out of time to prove he belongs. With the 12th overall pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder drafted Jalen Williams, and it's safe to say that this was a steal of the draft.